Hey family, it's AshleyNCurls and I am back with another video for you all today. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you. Today I am going to be talking about a very important topic, and that is hair typing versus porosity, hair porosity. A lot of people love to hair type and think that hair typing is like the end all be all. It is not, family. It's not. It is not. It is all about your hair porosity. That's what it's all about. Finding the best tips and the best techniques to deal with your specific hair porosity is what this video is going to be all about. So if you want to know how to get moisturized, define curls, and length retention, stay tuned to this video. All right, so I am first going to start off with talking about hair porosity and how to determine what your hair porosity is. So hair porosity is basically how open or closed the cuticles are on your hair shafts or on your hair strands. Some people's are open, which is high porosity, and some people's are closed, which is low porosity. The way to test your hair porosity is by doing a water test. Please know that I don't believe this test is the end all be all, because there are so many other factors that kind of can come into play. But you can start with the hair porosity test. Basically, you'll take a glass of water, and with that glass of water, you will take some clean strands of your hair. They need to be clean. I would also suggest taking them from multiple parts of your hair, because you could have different porosities in your hair. So I would highly suggest to take it from all parts of your hair. Once you have your clean hair, you simply just sit the piece of hair on top of the water. Don't push it in or anything. Wait about 10 or 15 minutes. When you come back, if your hair floats on the top, you are low porosity like me. If your hair kind of floats in the middle, you are medium porosity. And if your hair sinks to the bottom, you are high porosity. Are you low, are you medium, or are you high porosity? Do the test. Let me know what your hair porosity is by commenting down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe while you're commenting and give the video a thumbs up. So let's now get into what are the tips and techniques for your porosity. And we're going to start out with low porosity hair. So again, with low porosity hair, your hair floated on top of the water. And so that means that the cuticles on your strands of hair, they are closed. So it's really hard for things to absorb into your hair strands because the cuticles are essentially closed. They're not really open. So some characteristics of low porosity hair are: it takes forever in a day, really forever in like 2 days, for your hair to dry. Hint, that's me. My hair takes like literally, no lie, like 2 to 3 days to dry if I air dry it. It is ridiculous. So your hair takes forever to dry. You will notice that you get a lot of product buildup. It will seem like the product just sits on top of your hair and like never soaks into your hair. You will also notice that it takes a while for your hair to get wet when you're in the shower, meaning you will notice that the water will kind of bead up on your hair before it actually soaks into your hair. So if you notice that it takes a while for your hair to get wet when you're in the shower washing your hair, or under the sink, or however, wherever you wash your hair, that's another indicator that you are low porosity. So those are some characteristics for the low porosity. Some characteristics for high porosity are: your hair dries super quickly. It's no problem with your hair drying. You will also notice that your hair gets wet very easy. And you will also notice that product absorbs really well into your hair. So you really don't have to worry too much about product buildup, because you will notice as soon as you put things on your hair, you'll notice that they absorb very quickly into your hair. So again, once you do the water test, that is not the end all be all. Look for those different characteristics in your hair to determine if you are low or if you are high porosity. With medium porosity, I really honestly don't know a lot of people that are medium porosity. I know there are people out there. So for the sake of the length of this video, I'm going to talk about the two main types of hair porosity, which are low porosity and high porosity. So now that you know these characteristics, sis, let's get into these hair tips that will change your life. I am so serious, y'all. Once I stopped hair typing and I got into hair porosity, it changed my life. Like, it changed my curly game so much. My hair is now having more moisture for longer. My wash and goes are lasting so much longer. Products are actually absorbing into my low porosity hair. My curls are defined. I am having linked retention, y'all. So you need to stay tuned for these tips, y'all. You got to stay tuned. So for low porosity, I'm going to give 5 tips for low porosity hair. And these are just different techniques to use when you're doing your hair. My very first tip for low porosity hair is to wash your hair with warm or hot water. I know that this goes against what every curly girl and the holy grail of what curly girl and curly hair needs is cold water. Not for your low porosity hair. I promise you. Start using warm or hot water. Of course, you don't want to use hot water that's going to burn your scalp, but you need to use warm water. Why? We need those cuticles on our hair strands to open. We don't need them to stay closed. The only way that they're going to stay open or become open is with heat. So when you're washing your hair, rinse with warm water. When you're styling your hair, style with warm water. Also, one thing I've noticed is not allowing your hair to be soaking wet. That did not work for me, again, because water is like a natural liquid for your hair. It's naturally good for your hair. So if your hair has too much water, guess what your hair is going to soak up first? The water. No matter what you put on top, is going to soak up that water. So make sure you kind of work on like damp hair. So if you have to re-wet it, spray a little bit of warm water. My second tip for low porosity hair is not to use heavy butters. And y'all, for me, this was like so hard because I have thick hair, so I naturally love to use heavier products because in my mind, it weighs it down a little bit more so that it won't be so frizzy. So this is what I did not stop doing until I just kept getting like bad results with my wash and goes. They weren't lasting because I was being hard-headed and still using butters. Now that I have stopped using heavy butters on my hair, I'm telling y'all, changed my life, okay? So don't use heavy butters. Why? The butter is too heavy for our hair. Again, our cuticles are not open. They are like pretty much closed. So if you use heavy butters, the molecules are too thick to get into the cuticles of your hair. So it just sits on top of your hair, sis, and that's why you are getting product build up. So stop using heavy butters. My third tip for you all is use lightweight oils. With low porosity hair, use lightweight oils. Again, we cannot use thick oils because they will not absorb into our hair. So if you use a lightweight oil, it's a lot easier for that oil to get into your almost closed cuticle. Then that is how your hair becomes moisturized and nice and shiny because the oil is actually able to get into that cuticle. So use lightweight oils like jojoba oil, manoi oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower seed oil, vitamin E oil, sweet almond oil. I mean, there's a lot of different lightweight oils. As long as it's a lightweight oil, you are okay. And that is what you should use. Stop using heavy oils. For me personally, coconut oil is like a no-no to my hair. It makes my hair so incredibly dry. It might not be like that for all of my low porosity sisters out there. However, for me personally, coconut oil is like, it makes my hair so dry. It does not give me any moisture. So that's just a tip about coconut oil, and that's just my personal opinion. My fourth tip for low porosity hair is to make sure you are cleansing your hair, like thoroughly cleansing your hair. You should avoid cold washes. You should really shampoo your hair with a clarifying shampoo. Why? We suffer from product buildup. Again, because the product tends to sit on top of our hair because it cannot get into the cuticles of our hair strand. You use a clarifying shampoo. You want to start with a clean head of hair. My fifth and final tip for low porosity hair is to deep condition. Deep condition like your life depended on it. Now, I know that it takes extra time to deep condition, but if you want some juicy, defined, popping curls, you will definitely start to deep condition your hair. Deep condition it, steam your hair. Again, anything that is going to open those cuticles on your hair is going to be amazing. When you deep condition your hair, stay away from deep conditioners with high protein in them. Our hair does not need protein. It's not going to respond very well with protein. And when I say it does not need protein, it's okay to have protein every once in a while. But if you do have protein, make sure that it is a hydrolyzed protein. That type of protein is okay for low porosity hair, and your hair will still flourish with a hydrolyzed protein. So read the ingredients in the products that you are buying, because that right there will change your life. So for all of my high porosity sisters, aunties, mamas, grannies, everybody out there, I am now going to give you 5 tips for your hair. Now, for all of my aunties out there who have high porosity hair, that means that the cuticles on your hair strands, they are open. They stay open. They do not close. So it is very easy for a product to get into your hair, but it is just as easy for that product to leave your hair. So I am now going to give you all 5 tips for your hair. Because your hair, the cuticles on your hair strand are open, my first tip for you all is to use cold water. Cold water will help for you all. Why? Because it will help to close the cuticles on your hair, and it'll keep that shine in your hair, and then your hair will really flourish from using cold water. So stay away from using warm water when you shampoo your hair or when you style your hair. Use cold water, and that will help to change your natural hair game. My second tip is to use butters. For high porosity hair, it is okay for you all to use butters. You will not get a lot of product buildup. Why? Because your cuticles are open. So again, the product really absorbs very well into your hair. So if you use those butters, it'll help for moisture to stay inside of the strands of your hair. My third tip is to use protein. Use protein like your life depended on it. Find products that have protein in them for your high porosity hair. It will really help. So you can deep condition with it. There are products that have protein in it. Protein will really truly help. I know the Apogee is really good. They have like a keratin reconstructor or something. It's like a spray. I know that that's really good. So use protein on your hair and stay away from glycerin. Low porosity hair can stand glycerin. Glycerin is good, and humectants are good for low porosity hair. However, for high porosity hair, you need to stay away from glycerin. That is not your friend. So try to stick with protein. Stay away from the glycerin. My fourth tip for high porosity hair is to avoid heat and chemicals. And when I say heat, I don't mean to stay away from deep conditioning. Deep conditioning is good. You want to deep condition your hair. It is good. However, stay away from using heat. So when you are blow drying your hair, when you're diffusing your hair, try to stay away from heat. Try not to straighten your hair or put chemicals on your hair, because again, your hair will suck all of that in. So that's why your hair could be suffering from breakage. It could be you're not able to get length and retain length, because it's very easy for your hair to become damaged because it is so porous. And so you have to be very careful with what you put on your hair. So my tip is to stay away from heat. Stay away from chemicals. Don't color your hair. Try not to straighten your hair. Try to use cold air when you're diffusing, all of that. Again, you want to seal in that moisture, because if not, again, it's going to leave. It's going to leave your hair because it's so porous. My fifth and final tip for high porosity hair is to cold wash. Do not use clarifying shampoos on your hair. It is okay if every once in a while you want to start fresh and cleanse your hair. That is okay. However, you need to stick with cold washing. Maybe cold wash 1 week, shampoo the next week. But shampoo is not really great for your hair. You need to retain moisture. So my suggestion would be to cold wash your hair, pre-poo your hair, cold wash. I like to pre-poo, even though I'm low porosity, I like to sometimes pre-poo with aloe vera, fresh aloe vera plant. So cold wash your hair for your high porosity hair, and I promise you those tips and techniques will help to change your curly hair game. Well, family, that is all for this video today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Also, do not forget to comment down below. Let me know what your hair porosity is. Let me know if you tried any of these tips and techniques, and let me know if they work for you all. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.